you've been in the college sector or further education sector for many years. Obviously, started off as a sort of a teacher trainer.
Yeah.
Then moved into the sort of senior leadership type roles, assistant
Yeah.
principal, and now
Yeah.
you're the you're part of the board of governors. Now you're the chair.
Yeah.
You've been outspoken as well about love our colleges, and you've been involved in those sort of initiatives, and you've got your views, and you're really ingrained within the FE sector. So how does a college? I mean, you talk about ethical growth and sort of those challenges. It's effectively the same question, but how does a college principal or get the balance right with all these push and pulls and so forth? Any advice for leadership teams and principals of colleges?
Well, I think at the end of the day, like any organisation, you've got to have a plan that makes sure that you're financially sound, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because if you don't get your finances sorted, then it doesn't matter what else you want to do. It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah.
So you need a plan. I love plans. You need a plan which, at the end of the day, is going to deliver the amount of growth that you need, so that you can get the finances sorted, and then you can do all the wonderful stuff that you want to do on top of that. So, yeah. So you need a plan. For most colleges, that would be a plan for growth. Okay.
So, Phil, I want to talk a little bit more about your core role now, the Ascentis group and so forth, and we've through our discussion, and we're coming to the end now, and we're talking a little bit more about future goals and aspirations, and trying to bring in some of the conversations we've had. So we've had the US plan. You want to invade United States. You want to go in there and actually you've done all your research, and you've done all your research. You've done all your planning, and that's definitely part of your plan in the next couple of years. You've got your UAE outputs, and you've got domination there. You've got a little bit of work throughout Europe, but it's a little bit fragmented in terms of where that is. You've got your dominance within the ESOL provision and English and language provision, but you've got also other qualifications you're coming across, and you also see IDS as an organisation in terms of progressing and becoming more or less the parent, really, in terms of the offer. So that's the vision, that's the plan, and a lot of the work has been already done in terms of executing. Just bring that in, if you can, summarize really what that next sort of 3 years looks like.
Okay, so what should happen, this is the plan, is that both Ascentis and IDL will both achieve growth. In Ascentis, there are those challenges in that some qualifications will be defunded, and some of that will impact on us, and we'll just lose those qualifications. There's nothing we can do about that. So you have to build into the plan that there's a certain amount of loss that you're going to have. Against that, we would hope to continue. We must continue to expand the ESOL provision. That's still growing very rapidly, and there's still an awful lot of business to be picked up. So the ESOL will continue to grow, hopefully at quite a strong rate. And then the next big thing, which we haven't actually talked about, is that Ascentis it's just recently been approved to run functional skills qualifications. So that needs to be the next big qualification area for Ascentis, functional skills. We have a unique offer. It's a 100% online offer for functional skills in maths and English. And of course, many of the same centres that deliver our ESOL qualifications would deliver those functional skills. So in a sense, we should have something of a captured market there for those qualifications. So those two in particular need to grow. Access qualifications have actually been declining over the last few years nationally for all AVAs because of the cost of living crisis, actually, Saf. But we need to turn that around, and we need to get some growth on our access to HE diplomas. So that's in the UK. That's where most of the growth will come from, in the UK. And then there's overseas. So we have our ESOL international business in Italy. We need to make that into a transportable model and transport that to other countries. Greece would be a good example, but there's no reason why that can't be transported all over the shop. That should give us reasonable, steady growth within Ascentis. In IDLS, we've now got these three main products in dyslexia, dyscalculia, and mental health and well-being. They all have significant growth potential in the UK, and that will just continue to develop in the UK. It will continue to expand in the UAE. You may get some some marginal growth in places like Europe. I'm not too fixated about that because it's fairly small scale, actually.
Yeah.
And then the big thing is to burst into America. That's the bit which is potentially transformational, because that's as big as you want to make it.
Yeah.
So it's whether we can, if it happens, it should be big, or if we don't make it, we don't make it. So it's one of the two, I think. And then you put the two together, and that should give us enough growth to keep going and keep expanding, irrespective of the fact that in Ascentis we will lose some business because of the defunding of qualifications. And one of the things I've got to do, because a few years ago I stood up in front of all of my staff, this was several years ago, and said, I want the Ascentis Group to be an £8 million company turnover. And SAF people laughed at me. They laughed at me. So if I do nothing else in my life, I'm going to reach a situation whereby I stand in front of the staff and say, we are an £8 million group.
Canny Conversation Podcast Series 5 by Safaraz Ali.